Get rid of these floating panels. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Lunch Without Lunch. My name is Amber Rowden. I'm the community storyteller at Rainforest, Alberta, here in Calgary. If you haven't been to a Rainforest Lunch Without Lunch, or you've never been to Rainforest before, please share an emoji on the screen, introduce yourself in the chat, yeah, feel free to follow along with us on social media as well, at Rainforest AB. Before we get started, I just wanted to share a land acknowledgement. So in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Siksika, the Kainai, the Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda Nations, the Métis Nation Region 3, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta. If you're coming from somewhere else in the province, in the country, or the world, please feel free to share a land acknowledgement in the chat. We would love to have you share that with us as well. So what is Rainforest Alberta? Well, we are a community of innovators, dreamers, doers that support each other on everyone's innovation journey and entrepreneurial journey. And we're here to support each other through building a culture of trust. So we have a video that kind of explains more about what Rainforest Alberta is all about. I'm hoping I shared the sound when I shared my screen. So if you can't hear the video, please let me know.
What does it take to realize an idea or for a seed to sprout? At Rainforest Alberta, we know the answer is rooted in trust. Traditionally, Albertans have cultivated their ideas in established systems. Inputs that don't fit these systems are weeded out. Opportunities for growth are missed. But now, Albertans want a dynamic landscape that can evolve organically, like a rainforest. At Rainforest Alberta, we believe a culture of trust is the fertile soil where ideas grow. Our budding innovation ecosystem is a network of relationships pulling each other up as they push forward in their own field. Trust breaks down barriers. An open, inclusive network increases collaborative innovation. Successful breakthroughs inspire new ideas. A cycle begins. Rainforest Alberta is a movement to amplify trust by cultivating honesty, inclusion, and accountability. How? Our social contract holds us accountable to demonstrate trust across the province. We meet to have honest conversations around collaboration. This leads to more inclusive spaces for everyone to fearlessly build new ideas together. By raising the standard of trust, Alberta's ideas, talent, and resources can be evergreen. Visit rainforestab.ca to sign the social contract and start growing together.
So we use 6 pillars to guide our conversations and actions, and not all are weighted equally. Like any ecosystem, the right balance is crucial, and we measure these each year through our scorecard assessment. So we focus on culture the most at the Rainforest, which is weighted at 30%. Leaders is 20%, resources 15%, engaged activities such as Lunch Without Lunch are 10%, policy and infrastructure 15%, and role models are 10%. So tips to making the most out of Lunch Without Lunch: introduce yourself in the chat, what you're working on, what you're looking for, what you can offer. Please just share more in the chat. We're all about collaboration and getting to know one another, and we want to get to know each other and make those connections. Connect with individuals through direct messaging. Put your camera on. It's always great to see everyone's faces, especially in a virtual setting, so we can get to know names and faces together. Ask questions that lead with curiosity rather than offering advice. Keep connecting on our Rainforest Slack workspace and on our digital community. Check out #lunchnotes for capture of today's chat. And our recordings are always posted on YouTube. So if you missed a session or you want to rewatch a session, they're always on our YouTube page for you to check out. So at Rainforest, we have a social contract, which are 10 values that we live, work, and play by. And it's an agreement on how we innovate together, how we work together. And so each week we focus on one of the values of our social contract. And I think trust fits in really great with what we're doing today and what we've been doing in the rainforest and what we always do in the rainforest. But today is trust. And so I will give trust to others before expecting to receive trust in return. If you scan that QR code, that'll take you to the social contract where you can read all 10 values and you can sign the social contract. And I'll also throw the link in the chat as well. So I mentioned our digital community. And so it's a great place to keep connecting. You can ask questions, anything you're curious about. If you're curious about innovation or tech or starting a new idea, or you want to connect with individuals that have those questions that you can be matched to right away, it's a great place to ask those questions, to get answers, and to see resources. And we always have videos and content up there that you can check out. And we really encourage you to be a part of our digital community and really keep the conversations going. And we really need diverse perspectives on there to have multiple answers and keep that conversation going. So I'll throw that link in the chat as well, but you can also scan that barcode. So I'm going to stop sharing. And so we have been doing a 7-week learning experience where participants are creating meaningful connections, building leadership skills, and collaborating through diverse mindsets. And it's called Rainforest Circles. And so today we are having participants from the Rainforest Circles here with our Lunch Without Lunch group to collaborate and merge together. So Meghan Donohoe and Alicia Wight have been around and they've been helping us at the Rainforest with leadership and facilitating the circles to explore, diverse and trusting and changing the mindset of leadership. And so we're very excited to have them here today to, talk about speaking with candor and to merge the Rainforest Circles with Lunch Without Lunch. And so without further ado, I'm gonna pass it on to you, Alicia.
Thanks, Amber. That's awesome. And Meghan, if everyone's looking madly through the little screens and not seeing her, she, if you can imagine, was on a panel until about 11:45 and then had to find a place to sit down and join us. So she will be here. She's just somewhere around the Petroleum Club trying to find a place to log in. So we'll see her soon. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm really excited today to be able to have this intersection of Lunch Without Lunch, which I have enjoyed both as a participant as well as facilitating around topics with leadership, and the Rainforest Circles, which has been a wonderful journey that we're on. We're getting towards the end of it. And so what we want to do today is we're just going to do what are Rainforest Circles. I can see there's actually quite a few members of our Rainforest Circles here, so I think that's fantastic. And I encourage you to add your thoughts on the poll in the chat as we go through. We're going to do a trust builder. So I think you hopefully noticed through Amber's video about Rainforest Alberta, trust plays a really critical role. And as Meghan and I have been doing this work on leadership of the future, it really has this anchor in interest. And so with every circle starts off with a trust builder, and we're going to do the same thing today, is use a trust builder, and we will put you in breakout rooms for that. We're going to chat a little bit about speaking with candor. So what that means, that is this week's topic that we've been diving into. And it's one of my favorites as far as skills that I think are underdeployed, underutilized, and maybe even underdeveloped. And so I think it's, for me, the readings were super fun this week. And I hope all of you from the Rainforest Circle have also enjoyed them. But I think there's a lot of opportunity in getting a different mindset when we think about speaking with candor and feedback. We're going to do an activity called the Ring of Reciprocity. I have to tell you that I've been practicing saying that word. Still does not roll off my tongue, but that's what we're going to do. So you'll get to hear me try it a few more times before the end of today's session. And then we'll come back and just have a bit of a reflection and a close. That's important as well as part of our Rainforest Circles. So let's start with what are, sort of what the heck are Rainforest Circles is really what was so cool. And this is, I think, one of my biggest enjoyments of this. Oh, sorry. Wow. there we go, is that we had 60 people who voluntarily said, yes, I would like to participate. We have a really nice, diverse mix of people that are part of our circles, and they're putting in their own time. It's an hour of synchronous time with their group. Groups are 4 to 5 people, and then an hour of asynchronous time, which includes some readings as well as some reflection. We really were focused on how to create additional trusting relationships within the ecosystem. We wanted to continue to build what equitable and inclusive mindsets look like, and reviewing an overall sense of trust and commitment to the social contract. And so when we look at the social contract, and I think many of you have probably seen us overlay the leadership commitment with the social contract. If you haven't, we'll make sure we add that slide to this, Amber, when we post it. But also, if you go and haven't signed the social contract yet, it's a good opportunity. You can look at how it overlaps with our leadership commitment. And so our Rainforest Circles are focused on our commitment, which is basically rainforest leaders ignite trust by inquiring with curiosity, advocating and amplifying for others, nurturing and fostering connections, speaking with candor, and leading with generosity and compassion. So as Amber said, this is a 7-week journey. The first week was a kickoff. We then have 5 weeks focused on each of these topics. We have a bit of a catch-up time, and then we're going to have our closeout at the beginning of May for all of our circle participants. And so each week we took one of the one of these topics, like inquiring with curiosity, or this week is speaking with candor. We provided resources and a discussion guide, and then groups have been getting together, and they are self-facilitated groups. So most groups have been taking turns with who's hosting to ensure that they're participating in the trust builder. They leverage some of the discussion questions and then show gratitude towards the participants. And so that's what's been happening in the background. And then we've had a couple of these intersection points. So we've had one where it was just all of Rainforest participants came together, and we had an opportunity for us to meet virtually. And then we have this sort of intersection with Lunch Without Lunch, which is bringing these two wonderful communities together. So Amber, I don't have my chat open. I just realized, and I see I just need to, here we go.
Oh. I can help with that too. I'm here as well.
Oh yeah. Hi, you found a place. Hi, it does have that Petroleum Club look to it.
I'm in a phone booth, a very old phone booth.
That feels so on target for the location that you're at.
Yeah.
So amazing. Awesome. Wonderful, Megan. So we've gone right to the trust builder.
Awesome. So as part of what we do in Rainforest in the circles, a big piece of this is building trust and connection. So what we really want to do is, it's not only about learning, but it's also about getting to know these people that you have been connected with in your circle. So we are going to do one of those today. It's a warm-up, a trust builder. And so we're going to send you into small breakout rooms do we decide 3, 2, 3? 3, okay. And then you're going to be with this room later on in another exercise we're going to do. So the trust builder is this. We want you to share a piece of feedback you received that had a helpful impact on you or your career. So we're not talking about advice. We're looking for something where someone gave you something that allowed you to grow, change, learn, do something differently. And we want you to share very quickly with each other. We're going to give you about 5 minutes or so to do this.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions about this one? Any Rainforest Circlers who want to chime in on the chat around how they've been finding these trust builder questions or warm-up questions as we wait for the breakout rooms? Yeah, makes fast friends, says Art. Yes, we'll share the question in the chat. Actually, I'll type it in. Yeah.
I got it.
Some feedback. Oh, great.
Yeah, I got it.
There you go. Okay. How you doing, Amber?
So close.
Okay. It's all good. We can be patient.
We should be good to go.
Okay, so we'll see you back here in 5 minutes. Share a quick story with each other. Oh, back. Hello. Awesome. How was that? Good conversation. Probably a little too fast. Yeah. So normally we reserve around 15 minutes for a warm up, but you're going to get a chance to go back together in the same groups. for the next part of this exercise.
All
But
right.
first, what we want to do is we want to show you a little video just to give a high level, what do we mean when we talk about speaking with candor? So Alicia's going to show us the video.
Why should you use Miro?
You know what? Hang on a second. My first rodeo, apparently. Yeah. All right.
Draw on a whiteboard, no one sees it. With Miro, you plan together in real time.
There we go.
Growing up, I was taught the golden rule, everyone was, treat others as you would want to be treated. The problem is that in trauma, that doesn't exactly work because at least I didn't know how other people would want to be treated, and I think I often got it wrong.
The way that you want to be treated may be completely different from what other people actually need when they're struggling with adversity.
Atnam taught me the platinum rule. Treat others as they would want to be treated. And I think that's really important.
There's a study that I learned about from one of my mentors, Brian Little, where people were put under stress. They were basically blasted with just uncomfortably loud noise, and nobody liked it. They really struggled on all the tasks that they were trying to do at the time. And then the psychologist said, what if we could give these people a button to press if the noise got uncomfortably loud? And sure enough, when the participants got the button, they were much more able to tolerate the noise. That's not surprising. What is surprising, though, is that none of the participants actually pressed the button. So it wasn't making the noise go away that helped them. It was just knowing that they had a button to press. Part of being a good friend is being a button to somebody else.
Saying, is there anything I can do, is a nice offer, but it's really hard for that to be helpful because it shifts the burden to the person who's suffering to tell you what they need, and it's really hard. What do you ask for? The requests either seem too small or too big. It's hard to ask for things. So rather than offering to do anything, just do something. My colleague, Dan Levy, who very sadly lost his child when his son was in the hospital, said that one friend texted him, "What do you not want on a burger? I'm coming, I'm bringing you a burger, what do you not want on it?" Another friend went to the lobby of the hospital and said, "I'm in the lobby of the hospital in case you want a hug for the next hour, whether you come down or not." The act of just doing something is much better than the offer of, what can I do?
So I know this video talks about friendship and personal connection, but we see it very connected to how we all can help each other in an ecosystem on a daily basis. And so we have discovered when we were starting to dive into the conversation and the readings around speaking with candor, that it is very nuanced. It's not just about saying what's on your mind. It's also about considering what the other person needs and asking them what they need. It offering up what you could provide for them without jumping right into it. So the conversation kind of spanned all of these different ways of thinking about how do you share feedback, what is good and what is not good about feedback, how do you speak with authenticity and vulnerability while also managing boundaries. So Alicia's prepared a high-level overview of a slide, and we'd also love for those of you who were part of the circles and had the chance to do the readings to hear from you and in the chats, what are some of the things that struck you?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Megan. And what I love about the video is that I think sometimes you can look at something that, option B is a great book, and it doesn't necessarily seem like it's meant for leadership or business. And then when you dig into some of the messages around it, I think there's just so much that you can take and apply. So I also love when you find some of these gems out there that can be applied in so many places. So when we talk about speaking with candor, and we kind of look at the readings, and we will put these resources, we'll make sure that they're available either in the chat, or Amber will figure out a way of maybe putting in the comments on the YouTube channel. But we had some keywords that came through. So it's sort of like, what do these keywords have to do with speaking with candor? And I'm going to just move through because I want to make sure we have lots of time for you in our activity. So I'm going to move through and kind of go to I mean, it's not the answer because there's a million answers, but go to some of our thoughts and Meg and I were discussing. And I really encourage anyone in the Rainforest Circles who's been looking at these readings and what they took away. But really with vulnerability for us, it's that basis of trust, and to be able to speak with candor and be very successful with it. I think that trust is a critical component. So we talked about the social contract. We talked about that rainforest leaders are igniting trust, and it is critical to have a level of trust to be able to speak with candor. Intent. This is my favorite, and it's probably been the most helpful for me as someone who sometimes avoided difficult conversations, is recognizing what was the intent. And so if my intent, which often it was for the other person and to support them, I often think, what happens if I don't provide this feedback? So what would it look like if I don't share? And if there's no impact, then I don't need to share it. But if it's going to help them and support them in moving forward in their career, in their goals, and one of our bonus talks talked about understanding what people's goals were and how your feedback matches to that, that can be really effective. Curiosity, what is the other person's perspective? And so really letting them have the opportunity to talk, to give their own feedback and think through that. Sometimes people have their own answers and you don't need to provide it for them. In the one article, the feedback fallacy, it talks a lot about, whether or not we really need to give feedback. And they gave some great examples of what you could say instead, right? What's, how you might talk about your reaction so that you're really centering it around, it's just your perspective. And then this double-edged sword of kindness. And I love this, and that often people leave things unsaid under the guise, I'll call it, of kindness. And one of the articles was about how women are getting less true feedback or because people were worried about being kind, and it's holding them back in their careers. And so just recognizing the impact that this guise of kindness can have. And so speaking with candor, and Kim Scott, who does Radical Candor, really does a great job about this idea of caring personally and really putting that care in it, but it doesn't mean you're not having the conversation. So it's a combination of both those things. So that's a very short, really you could talk for days about this. And I know that each of you would have great examples where it's worked well for you, where it hasn't, and how you might move it forward. But I want to make sure we move on to this next activity. Is there anything in the chat, Megan, that we should?
No, not yet. But if someone has anything they want to add around speaking with candor, please feel free to add some more in there. Yeah, Peyton, Scott has a masterclass, so wonderful. Okay, so what we're going to do is a very shortened version of a circle, but also it's slightly different. It's called the ring of reciprocity, and also known as, there's another word for this, which is like a troika exercise. It's super fun. So if you've never done it, just open yourself up to a new opportunity to try something kind of neat. Okay, so here's how it works. You're going to go back into your groups of 3, and each of you are going to take turns taking on the role of a help seeker or a helper. So you're going to always have 1 help seeker and 2 helpers, and then we're going to rotate. It's going to be 10 minutes per round. So we are going to send you and prompt you all the time. And so try to keep up with our job is to keep you on task and time. So it might feel rushed, but that's going to be, we'll just got to keep up. So in each round, here's what's going to happen. The person who is the help seeker is going to take 2 minutes to share a request for help. It can be anything. It could be, I'm struggling with this work project, or this thing is happening at home, or I'm thinking about this and I don't know, I want some other perspectives. It can be anything that you are seeking help on. Then after you explain it for 2 minutes, the next 2 minutes will be the 2 other people in the room, the helpers, who can ask clarifying questions about this problem or need for help. Then once you get sort of some clarity, you only have 2 minutes for that. You're going to spend 5 minutes, and it's only going to be the helpers. The helpers are going to start sharing some offers for help. So some different perspectives, maybe connections, maybe resources, and you're just going to try to come up with as many ideas as possible. And this is important. The help seeker, I want you to try to be quiet and let them share their thoughts, and try not to lead the conversation, because sometimes help is in the most unusual places that we don't think we can find it. And then lastly, the last minute, the help seeker is going to come up and just say, thanks so much, helpers, appreciated. This was helpful. Going to check this out, and just show some gratitude for your helpers. And then we're going to rotate. Okay.
And Megan, I will probably, I just put the instructions in. We will probably be condensing this a little bit just to make sure that everyone gets a chance, and also respecting that people have hard stops often at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
So recognizing that you may feel it, if you have a timer and are testing us, it's because we're accelerating you a little bit.
Yes, you're right. We might move a little more quickly. Yeah, and just to the idea of advice anti-hero. So we want to go back to this idea of someone might not want advice. And so be very clear if someone has a problem with something, you know, you might, and they haven't stated, you know, do they want advice? Maybe they want connections, maybe they want resources. It's really important to make that distinction, because sometimes advice can be not helpful and it's not what people are looking for. Yeah, if you don't have anything that you need help with, Craig, then you can skip it, and someone else can be a help seeker. But I encourage everyone to try to think of something small. Okay, we will get started. I'm going to open the rooms and we'll walk you through it. So even if you're kind of losing track of what you're supposed to do, we'll send you broadcast notes to keep you on track. Here we go. For those of you who have already popped back in, was it fast?
Fast, but very efficient.
Oh, good, good.
I already got help.
Oh, great. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Art? How was it?
It's one of my favorite types of liberating structures to facilitate. I love that. It's just it's efficient, quick, to the point. It's the goods.
Yeah, love
it's
it.
good.
Love that you know liberating structures. That's great. It's good. Awesome. So welcome back, everyone. How was it? Yay. 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 It was fast.
Maybe some sun. Like
we recognize it was fast, and usually these things are meant to be fast, not quite this fast. It also, we feel as facilitators a little blind because we know we're just sending you messages and we can't really see what's going on. So I hope that didn't impact the experience too much and that you did get something out of it.
Awesome. So just to close us out today, I'm going in the wrong direction.
Starting over.
We're going back to the beginning. One of the things we talk about quite a bit in the Rainforest Circles, and one of the things that I love is learning through reflection, and how important it is to reflect on our experiences, to really onboard the learning and be able to implement what we've learned and absorbed. And so we have a couple of questions here. Would love if anyone wants to answer them in the chat, but some thoughts or some questions to get your thoughts flowing. You know, what was the most surprising component when we think of speaking with candor? What was missing? I mean, it was a very short, here's what speaking with candor is. So I think there was a lot missing, and it's a very nuanced topic. Was it easier to be in the helper or the helping seat? What made it harder? And Megan and I were talking that we have a reading that's going to be coming up next week that's going to talk a little bit about this for those that are in the Rainforest Circles. So stay tuned and see if you can spot that coming in the future. And did you catch yourself as an advice anti-hero? When else has this happened in your life? And how do you catch yourself in that moment? So just some things to get you thinking about the experience and what you learned. I see some thank yous in the chat. Thanks, Marty, for taking the training wheels off your bike or your kid's bike. I'm not sure my memory is good enough to remember mine coming off, but I sure remember taking my kids off.
Yeah. I think, so thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. I don't know if there's a couple last things, Amber, that you want to do. I'm going to try to track down some of the resources and paste the links in the chat here.
I have the video I can put in. I know somebody asked for that. So there's that one.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Megan and Alicia, for being here and for doing this and for doing the Rainforest Circles. We are really loving it. And I just can't thank you enough. And I want to thank everyone from the Rainforest Circles that have came to be part of lunch today and that are participating and being a part of that. And for everyone that came to lunch without lunch and being a part of today and being vulnerable and open to sharing and conversations. So I know we have a couple minutes, so I just want to open it up for community announcements. There's one from us. And so join us next week in person at Platform Calgary in Classroom 2 to hear from Tacit Edge. If you've ever been interested in product or product management and just kind of hear how Tacit Edge is changing the world, come and join us next week, and we'd love to see you in person. And also, if you're interested in being a host or a guest on the Leaders Innovators Big Ideas podcast, we would love, love, love to have you host and share your stories. So with that, I'll open it up to any other community announcements.
I'll just add in on your last comment, Amber. Al Deegan does a fantastic job of taking the recordings that you do as a host for the podcast. So anybody that's kind of on the fence of should I be a host, should I not be, go for it. It's a super easy process, and it only really encompasses the time it takes to record with your guest. So it's a fantastic thing. So go ahead and do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Val. And you're an awesome host.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Megan. Great resources.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I guess if that's it, then I will just, thank you again, Megan and Alicia. And hopefully we'll be doing more Rainforest Circles eventually, maybe. But yeah, keep the discussions going on our digital platform and on social media. And yeah, definitely check out our digital platform. There'll be lots of resources on there. You can chat with other people. And yeah, thank you again. It's 1 o'clock. So have a great week and see you next week.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Bye.